to tune in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. I am super excited as we bring balance to the world one household at a time. Right here today, talking about decluttering. Okay, we need to learn how to declutter in our minds and our personal spaces. And we have here today two experts that are going to be sharing some insights on how you can declutter both. Welcome. Let's welcome Lianne Hofer. How are you, Lianne?
I'm good, Kim. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good now that you're here, and I'm excited to have you here and can't wait to hear your perspective on things. And Krystal Rosser, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I know we have a special bond, so I'll talk about that later throughout the episode as well. But I'm glad to have both of you ladies here as we are going throughout starting a new year and everything. I really wanted people to know how to just get a handle on clutter and mess and what are those things? Hoarding. Hoarding. Yeah, hoarding is a good word. We'll talk about that. But in the studio audience, as you all are grabbing your virtual seats, go ahead and let us know where you're visiting in from. Tag your friends, invite people to hear this episode. It is going to be epic. That's what I would say. Epic is a good word.
Epic work.
You know what they're talking about. Now, I'm not the expert on this. You can't be the expert on everything. That's why you have to bring the experts in, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm excited about these women being here to share how we can declutter. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And then when we come right back, we're going to deep dive into our conversation today. We'll be right back.
Why learn about health when you can experience it? Experience it in beautiful Florida in February 2024. Join us for 3 days of integrative and intensive health and healing education and empowerment with the expertise of the following Healthopedia author, speaker, and facilitators. The world-renowned homeopath and acupuncture physician, Dr. James Marinakis, 4-decade health coach and holistic nutritionist, Dr. Joe DeBear, and others such as Kimberly Meredith, Dame Doria Cordova, Rex Sykes, Dr. Gary Sanchez, Jamie Kerr, Serena Brown-Travis, and more. Experience daily morning walking and yoga, interactive participation, panel discussions, and more for your own epiphany of health. Get your tickets now.
All right, everyone, we are back and we again are talking with two of our experts that are here today to help us be able to better declutter. Lianne is an international award-winning best-selling author twice. She's been featured on many TV podcasts, blogs, newsletters, and books and magazines. I've seen her all over the place, by the way. She is a bright light sharing how we can be happy. So not only does she focus on decluttering, she's also teaching us how we can be happy and how we're more than enough, which I'm excited to hear how that kind of collides. Most of us are looking for things that are under clutter somewhere, and we're going to hear her philosophy on that. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but she's learned entrepreneurship as a residential organizer and later became certified as a mental health coach as well, a mental wellness coach, certified happiness trainer, Reiki master, and master teacher to her list of certifications and accomplishments. I'm not going to read everything else because it's stuff she's going to talk about. So welcome, Lianne, to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Well, thank you.
And then we have Krystal Rosser, who is the owner and operator of A Clean Experience LLC. She's the host of Mending Me TV, and she also has a teenager named Isaiah, who is starting in the 7th grade. He was at this particular time. He's probably, is he still in the 7th grade?
Yeah, still 7th year.
Okay. And she's learned how to master the art of self-love. So some of her traumatic experiences that's happened in her life have helped her master how to love yourself. And we're going to learn more about how that being confident and showing up as your authentic self and being able to declutter makes a difference in Krystal Rosser's life. So welcome, Krystal, to the Kim Jacobs Show. Hey, ladies.
And I'm getting more and more bright as the day goes on here.
Well, yeah, it's like a light is illuminating from you in a good way.
I'm feeling very illuminated. I hope that the info I share is just as illuminating.
That's funny. Oh, yeah, it will be. It will be. So I wanted to ask you definitely, Lianne, when you were growing up, and this is for both of you all, when you were growing up, were you organized as a younger person? Let's just talk from that perspective. Or is this something you learned over the years?
Oh, do you want me to go first? Do you want Krystal to go first?
Lianne.
All right, I'm going. Okay, so for me, it was a trauma response. So I was a victim of childhood sexual trauma, and I couldn't control what was happening to me, but I could control the environment that I lived in. So I got really good at having things very purposefully placed, keeping things neat and tidy, because that gave me a sense of control. So what's really interesting is that I was able to turn a trauma response into a business. I don't know how many people do that, but I did.
That's interesting. And so when you say a trauma response, and it was definitely an invasive situation that took control from you, you mentally went into like a space of, well, I'm going to make this a beautified experience for me. Is that, because that's a lot to think about in your younger years, that you actually processed it like that. Most people would not do that.
I don't know that at the time it was an actual thought. It's more as I started to address and heal and work through that trauma that I realized, oh, look what I did. So for me, that's what that was. And then my mother was very depressed and dealt with depression most of her life. And what I would do is I would go down and I would organize the dining room table, which was the paper dumping ground. So back then we got newspapers. So there's newspapers. I've got 2 siblings, all of our school stuff, the mail, all the things were on the table. And I would go through and make like little categorized piles. And I would notice that she would feel better when I did that. So I would continue to do that in different areas in the house. And that's basically my training ground.
That is a very unique perspective. And I've never heard it in the past until you've just shared it like that. But that was your coping mechanism, and it really helped you heal, but it also helped your mom through the depression that she was experiencing, and it just brightened her day for that day and that moment.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. I'm intrigued to learn more about that philosophy, but I love you sharing that piece. And you, Krystal, I know you've dealt with some childhood trauma as well. Talk to us from your perspective, because I didn't even know prior to right now that the two of you both dealt with some type of childhood trauma. And I'd rather not know, because I want it to be organic like this. So go ahead, Krystal.
Well, I grew up in a hoarder's house, so I grew up around it and really didn't think of it as anything. I thought it was normal until I moved out and got my own space, and I seen like, okay, what's going on? I didn't know why all this stuff was happening, and the trauma that I went through, it was, I didn't understand it until I was older. So it was just trauma on top of trauma. So that being hurt in my adulthood made me realize that something that wasn't normal. And I had to I didn't want my son to take on that it's like a mental disorder. I didn't want my son to take on that. So I had to start figuring out some ways to get that under control for him.
So when you were dealing with a hoarding experience, but you didn't know it was hoarding at the time?
No, I thought it was just normal. We just have tons of paper everywhere, tons of clothes, and it was normal until I moved out and seen in my own house and was I was always overwhelmed at home as a child, but I didn't know why. but I knew when I cleaned up and did things, I felt a little better and it just felt lighter. So putting that, going back to my childhood and bringing it back to my adulthood, I understood that, okay, this is not normal. That's not normal to have everything everywhere. So.
Wow. Okay. And I see you. Thank you, Mackenzie. Putting the National Sexual Abuse Hotline is 800-656-4673. 800-656-4673. If anyone that you know or yourself are dealing with any type of sexual abuse, especially if you know of situations where sexual abuse is happening, make sure you reach out to this hotline. We want to provide resources to you for you to be able to connect. You can even sometimes connect anonymously and not even have to share your name and information, but reach out 1-800-656-4673 and get the help that's needed for you or someone else that you know. Thank you, Mackenzie. Now, with the hoarding experience, once you came into the knowledge of the truth, Krystal, did you go back and possibly help with the situation and with your parent, with your mom, and say, hey, we got to get this under control. Let me help you.
It was with my grandfather. He can repair anything. So if he sees anything out on the street or anything, he's like, no, I can fix that. So that's how he just started bringing things in. And I try to go back and help him, but he's like, no, I've been doing this. He's content with it. So I try and sneak some things out every now and then, but he just likes it like it is. So
that's hilarious. Okay, so what did that? Let's talk about that for a second. With you all being these experts or people dealing with decluttering, there are some people that just decide, I don't care what you're talking about. This is my stuff and I'm keeping it. What happens in those cases? Any thoughts? And either of you can go. Lianne, you go.
Yeah, if you're not ready and you don't want to do anything, then, as long as you're not in any sort of imminent danger, then okay. There's no point in trying to do it because everyone's going to be miserable or you're going to make decisions that you'll regret later. So if you're not ready, you're not ready.
That's a good point. I love that. Okay. What are your thoughts on that, Krystal?
I had a client and that was like her therapy, going to just buy things. And I went to try and help her. And I was like, okay, well, are you using this? Well, let's get her rid of it. She's like, no. Like she just did not want to get rid of it. It was a hazard because I was assisted nursing in my later years, about a few years ago. And so the aspect of not having clear aisles and clear paths to walk down, it was just it was a hazard waiting to happen. And so I'm telling her this, and she just was like, I'm just create a path right here. I just need one path and just let me go. So she was okay with it. She wasn't ready to part with it.
That's funny. Okay. So there are people that are receptive to it as well. And so when that happens, how do you set things up so that they have the best outcome, the best experience as a result of now encountering you?
Want me to go first? I can go first. Well, I can.
This is a conversation anyway, so either of y'all can talk.
With one of my clients, because I have a cleaning business. So one of my clients, he called me like specifically for Declutter because he would buy all this stuff and not use it. And he was like, I don't have anywhere to go. I can't move. I can't do anything. And we just had a conversation of what did he want to do with this stuff? Right. And he said he wanted to get rid of it, but he just didn't know how to get rid of it. And I would give him I told him this, if you haven't used anything, any of these things that you need to get rid of within a year, you need to let it go. Because if you haven't used it in a year, you don't need it. Period. And I got him to part with some of it, but like, some things he just said, I just can't because it was either too expensive and he didn't use it and he wanted to keep it just in case, but he let me clean. He got through it. He threw away a lot of stuff. He's kept it he's been a client for about 3 months now, and he's kept it together how I left it. So we're doing very well right now.
That's awesome. I mean, seriously, when you can work with somebody and you get them so that they can let go of some stuff, it feels really good for you and it feels good for them because you feel like you're giving them value when you're there. And I know, so one of my big things is let's go throw some stuff out. Like, let's do it. I show up with black bags. Let's just fill them up because that way, and that would be like a tip for someone to take. If you're doing your own decluttering at home for our audience, get black bags. What's great about a black bag is you can't see it. So once you've made a decision, it's done. You're not second guessing it, right? Kim's like,
that's such a good tip too.
So yeah, I mean, so many times it's hard to make the decision. Do I keep this or do I keep that? I mean, if I have a client right now who has, oh gosh, she has probably a couple hundred pairs. And I've had a couple ladies like this. I've had a couple hundred pairs of denim jeans. I mean, they don't need to do wash for months because they have enough denim jeans. But seriously, they're not wearing them because they still have the price tags on them. So I know they're not wearing them. So when they make the decision, we put them in a black bag. That way the decision's done. It's not weighing on them. They're not then thinking about it. And the other tip that I would give is when you do decide to let something go. So like Krystal, for your 3-month person, if he's kind of ready to go, but not quite ready to let it go, put it in the garage as kind of a step. It's out of the house, out of your general daily sight. But if you change your mind, you can bring it back. Because once it goes to a charity, the trash, wherever it is that you're taking it, once it's gone, it's gone. Although I have a story about that too. But yeah, sometimes the garage is just a nice stepping stone to, hey, did I miss it for 3 months? No, it's been out in the garage for 3 months. I haven't thought about it. I can let it go. Sometimes that makes it a little easier.
That makes it a little more palatable, right? That's good. Okay, so right now, some great advice that's been happening is working. One thing that Krystal said is working with people when they're ready and being able to meet them kind of where they are. I love that advice, Krystal. That is perfect. Wonderful tips because not everyone's ready for that. And then you said put it in the garage and out of sight temporarily is a great idea as well for like 3 months to see if you really miss it. And even putting it in the black trash bags. I love all of these tips. So what do you all do too in the virtual studio audience? If you have your own strategies that work when you're decluttering, let us know what they are. I definitely would be the person to put it out in the garage for a minute, probably, Lianne, because I'm like, do I really want to get with it? Well, can I wear this black skirt with that? So because there are things that you can repurpose. Do you all have any thoughts on when you declutter and it's gone, it could have been something you could have repurposed? I don't know. Because, I mean, what are your thoughts, Lianne? Tell us.
Oh, yeah. Like we repurpose all kinds of anything that I can use for storage. So once we've cleaned out an area, then we do kind of like micro organizing. So in your junk drawer, it's not just a drawer where you just toss everything in. You've got little compartments, something that holds the pens, something that holds the tape, something that's got, you know, the little household things that you go to all the time. Like you've got paper clips and rubber bands and, you know, all that stuff that we keep in the junk drawer. Well, the junk drawer can still be organized. So keep those things that can be repurposed so that you can use them for that micro organizing. Once you kind of get a category together, then you can break up the category.
Okay. How about you, Krystal? Any thoughts on that? Repurposing.
Yeah. I can't, it's not coming to mind right now, but her answer was great.
Her answer is great. Yes. And so that's the thing. Y'all are two different experts on two different subject matters. And so you talk about whatever you want to talk about, but putting it in the garage out of sight temporarily. And then I really like this point where you say meeting with people where they are, because help those that are open to being helped at that time, not trying to force the services on someone else. And I really thought that was that's a great point. So what we'll do is we'll take a commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to hear more about how to declutter our minds and our spaces. We'll be right back right after this break. All right, everyone. We are back and we're talking with Krystal Rosser and Lianne Hofer. I want to make sure you know, too, that you can sow into the Kim Jacobs Show. I consider this a ministry because I believe we are literally helping families around the country be able to have some level of better balance in our lives. So you can definitely Cash App Kim Jacobs Inc. and paypal.me is if some people use PayPal. So paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. Or you can do Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show, and take a moment throughout the broadcast and say, hey, I'm enjoying this. I'll go ahead and send something over to be able to. Mackenzie always like, that's how I get paid. So she's in the background. All right, everybody, definitely pour in. And we never charge our guests to be a part of the broadcast, and really grateful for everyone that currently sows into the show. All right. So, Krystal, talk to us. You are a mom. You are also a business owner of A Clean Experience LLC, and you are a talk show host. So you're wearing quite a few hats. So I would love for us to just hear from you and learn more about how do you balance all of these hats?
One step at a time, because it's a lot. It can get overwhelming, but I focus on one thing at a time and what's more important at that time. So if my son needs my attention, he gets all my attention.
That's good.
Business, I have to do the business, and anything else falls to the wayside until have enough time for it.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what I do. Like, I know yesterday I used that as an example. My daughter needed me. She just wanted to have some time. She's out of school, and her life is pretty much predicated on whenever anyone else is available, right? So it's based on who can take her. She's a teenager and all of this. So I'm like, you know what? I can take you. So I took her and let her do some fishing and watched a show with her. And it was just the most wonderful experience for her. And it wasn't anything that was so special that we were doing. It was just the fact that we were doing something together that was important to her. So as we balance our lives, we have different hats and different levels of importance at that particular moment. And I love how you just shared that. Lianne, you have any thoughts on how you're balancing all of the different hats and roles and responsibilities you have?
I totally agree. So I had a day a couple weeks ago where I had nothing planned, and my son is in school, and I called him up and said, what are you doing for lunch on Wednesday? He's like, nothing. And I said, you are now. So I drove out to the shore where he goes to school and spent the day with him. And it was like the best day ever. I came home so charged up. He had a great day. We just walked on the beach. We had a sandwich. It was nothing special, but it was very special.
Right. And so it's like, that's perfect. It's nothing special, but it's so special, and it's so needed and so important. So when you all are out balancing different aspects of your lives, tell us what makes you feel in the studio audience. What makes you feel like, now that was a special moment in time, one that you could probably never recreate, but it was just special. Love to pop your comments up. All right. So I want people too to know how they can stay connected with you that's already on, and then they'll see different ones will come back on later too as well. Tell them how they can stay connected with you, Krystal.
You can find me on Facebook under Krystal Rosser, or you can go to Mending Me, or one word, and then TV, or you can email me at mendingmetv@gmail.com.
And how about you, Lianne?
I am at liannehofer.com. I'm at theclutterconsultant.com. Either one, you can reach me through there. On social media, I am on Facebook as the Clutter Consultant, and on Instagram as Lianne Hofer.
All right. So I'm excited about, when I think about you, Lianne, I think about the fact that people kind of consider you the Mary Poppins of clutter. And so talk to us from that perspective as well. What earned you that name?
Oh my gosh, that was from when I first started. There was a family that I was helping, and the husband would come downstairs and say, you're like Mary Poppins. You just come through and just, you're like always smiling. You're always in a good mood. You're kind of bouncing around, and everything looks great when you're done. And I guess some of it was also that I think outside of the box sometimes. So, like in the closet, one of the things that you could do is you can turn your hangers backwards. And at the beginning of the season, or you can do it at the beginning of the year. And then at the end of the season or the end of the year, you've got it right, full honesty. What did you wear? What didn't you wear?
Oh, epic. Psh, mind blown.
Right?
You saying you saying put the hangers which so they go backwards?
Right. So normally when you hang something up, you hang up the hanger. I'm just this way, right? So
Right.
go and put your hangers this way. So then every time you take it, you've got to take the hanger off backwards. And then when you hang it up, you hang up the hanger forwards. And then at the end of the season, or the end of a year, or whatever time frame you're looking for, now you know what did you wear and what didn't you wear. And if you didn't wear it, I mean, there's some things that you keep no matter what, right? Like you keep a formal dress, you may keep a Halloween outfit. You maybe have like the first outfit you ever wore when you got a job. Like you keep those things. But
Right.
out of like your daily wear, what are you wearing for shirts? What are you wearing for bottoms? And it's in your face what you are and aren't wearing. I mean, the 80-20 law says that we wear most of our stuff 20% of the time. We're only wearing 20% of our wardrobe 80% of the time. So we can let go of the rest. Now we can't let go of the rest. It's too uncomfortable, but you can start weeding it out. What's off season, what doesn't fit right, what needs to be repaired. Maybe you don't have a color that matches it. Maybe you love it, but it just doesn't, you're always fussing with it when you put it on. Those are some questions to ask on to let it go.
That's good. What are your philosophies too? Any input you want to share? Feel free, Krystal, and anybody in the studio audience too. I see comments coming in. Let's see. Anna Brothers is on, and she has a show as well. And I see her go live a lot about sweet blessings and also jewelry that she sells. So definitely check out Anna Brothers. I love the fact that Anna is more of a senior person. And so it lets you know that no matter what your age is, you can still enjoy social media and still enjoy teaching and sharing and selling items. So I'm inspired by you, Anna. Keep up the great work. Yeah. Because every time when you think about people, when it comes to social media and things, a lot of the younger people are doing things and they're trending, but she's doing some things and she's doing so great. So I want to just compliment you. All right. Amelia says, blessings, lady. Blessings to you. Glad to have you on, Amelia. And any other comments, y'all just keep them flowing in and we will share them. Now, I know I have audio podcast listeners too, so you're not seeing these comments, but just enjoy the show. Okay. All right. Any thoughts or philosophies that you want to share, Krystal, when it comes to how you deal with A Clean Experience LLC and even just decluttering overall? Any input that you want to share?
Mainly in my own life, if I can't fit it, if it's like messed up or anything, just let it go. Because sometimes I still can fall back into that kind of recluttering a little bit, and then I gotta snap out of it. So if it's something that I think I'm going to wear or think that I can fit, if I got to think about it, I got to let it go, because it's not, I can't keep it in my mind. That'll keep your mind cluttered. So you got to keep it all decluttered with it.
That's interesting, because there are some things that I don't wear, Krystal, and I don't wear them for a long time, but then I'm like inspired. Those are cute. I'm wearing that. Then when I get out, I realize this is why I didn't wear these right here, because they biting my toe. I'm just using that as an example. They biting the back of my toe, and now I don't have another pair of shoes or whatever. So I'm big on, if I'm at an event and someone says, "Oh, those are gorgeous shoes," and they hurt my feet, I will take those shoes off and give them to the person. Well, you can have them, because I'm never wearing these again, ever.
I came home from an event not too long ago, and I walked into the garage, and I have a rug right outside my back door, and I took the shoes off, and my feet were red in all these places, and I had a blister on my toe, and I said, "That's it," and they went right in the trash.
Yeah.
They didn't even come back in the house. Mm-hmm.
That's it. Well, just make a decision, because it's a reason why. Like, I had a pair of sneakers rubbing up on the back of my foot at the back, and I was like, that's why I didn't wear these. And they're cute, they're brand new looking, but they were rubbing to the point where it would end up causing a scar or something. I'm like, so cuteness does not always benefit you when it comes to stuff that really isn't working for you, you know?
Exactly. And then you can take and leave a bag, like a shopping bag, a paper bag in the closet. And when you do take something out and you try it on and you're like, oh, this looks really good. You start walking around the house in it before you go out and you're like, oh, that's rubbing on my foot wrong, or I'm constantly messing with the buttons or whatever. You can put it in the bag. And then when the bag is full, then you take it to a charity.
That's what I do.
And then the next thing is to choose a charity that speaks to you. So there's a lot of charities out there. A lot of them are national and they're like big faceless organizations. But it's interesting when I'm working with clients, if I say, well, I'm going to take that over to the women's shelter, and they've been on the fence with a couple of things, all of a sudden they'll go and pull those things off and say, you know what, give these to the ladies.
That's good. Really good advice. So what, any other thoughts pertaining to, you believe, I know, Lianne, that anybody can find anything anywhere. So that's like your whole philosophy. You're like, if you're searching for something, it can be found. Talk to us about that philosophy.
Oh, yeah. So when we had our house, which we've downsized now, we're not in a house anymore. But when we were in the house, I never, ever owned a trimmer for the shrubs. But yet my shrubs were always, I loved to cut that was my favorite thing. My husband would be like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to work in the yard. And I'd be like, oh, is it time to cut the shrubs? I'm going to go to the neighbor's house because he has one. But we had a seed spreader. So every season when it was time to spread the seeds, the neighbor would come over and borrow the seed spreader. So now I didn't have to keep as much stuff in my garage. And I always had access to what I needed. And here's the other thing. And Kim, you're going to love this one. God's not going to let anything that you need pass you by. He is going to take care of you. So my mother-in-law tripped and fell a couple of months ago, and I had an immediate need for a walker. I knew it was going to be a short-term need. I put a message out on Facebook. I had a message within 10 minutes. I had 2 walkers for her. And then I gave them back when I was done, because God knew. He took care of me.
See, look at that. So your philosophy is, everything that you stand in the need of, you're technically going to have it. It may not even come through you personally, but it comes from somebody that's surrounding you.
Exactly. Or you're going to walk into some place, some event, something, have a conversation, and someone's going to say, oh, well, I've got your back. Here's what you need.
So you know what? I know that's like probably a shameless plug, but the Kim Jacobs Show needs you, because I don't know if it's through you that some type of sewing and donating and pouring into is going to happen, because you're seeing this call to action. Yeah, because you're my neighbor. You're my neighbor, right? So you never know.
And we're all neighbors.
Yes.
And more importantly, even if you never donate to the Kim Jacobs Show, I definitely have to put this up with Gabe's Heart Foundation. It is important, and I even donate to Gabe's Heart, just so we all on the same page. Gabe's Heart Foundation is a worthy organization to donate to, because we are raising funds to get defibrillators put in public spaces around the country, to allow people and the paramedics to get to situations where it may take like 12, 15 minutes. That's what happened in my son Gabriel's case. It takes a while for people to get through traffic to get to help with sudden cardiac arrest. But at the end of the day, if we can get defibrillators put in homes and public spaces around the country where young people congregate, then we are able to help extend the time that it takes for the paramedics to arrive, the defibrillators right there on site that can be used, and then they can perform their life-saving measures. So please make sure you go donate. If you don't do anything with the Kim Jacobs Show, donate to gabesheartfoundation.org. Make sure you do that, for sure.
And don't the defibrillators today even tell you what to do? Like there's like a little audio that goes with it, like open,
Yes,
peel this
AED.
off, put this here, do this now, don't touch the person, do this, touch this. Like it walks you through it. So it's kind of like, even in the moment when you're like, I don't know what to do, it tells you what to do.
It does. It's the AED defibrillators. They're portable. I was actually at Sam's Club the other day, and I walked past, and they say AED defibrillator right here. I love that. I was like, Sam's Club, get it? They have the defibrillators right there, and people are congregating there, getting their groceries. Things can happen that are unpredictable, clearly. And so, anyway, I took a whole side note, but decluttering and decluttering. Back to decluttering. In decluttering, I'm trying to visualize. Are there like step 1, step 2, step 3? Are there like some basic steps that we need to take when we're trying to initially start just the decluttering process? We're going to take a commercial break, give you both a chance to just think from that perspective, and we'll be right back. All right.
Nothing says I love you more than final expense insurance whole life protection. With funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Get Insured Solutions, LLC. GetInsured.Solutions. 704-499-3616.
All right, we are back, and we're talking with Lianne Hofer and with Krystal Rosser about decluttering our minds, decluttering our spaces. And some great tips have already been shared, but I'd love to hear, is there like a step-by-step process on how you declutter? Lianne or Krystal, which one do you want to go first? Let's go with you, Krystal. We haven't heard a lot from you.
Well, it has to be you have to start with your mental first. You have to be ready to do it and in the space to do it. And I tell my clients to start small, because if you make a big decision, then you'll regret it, and then you'll go and get everything and put it back in the house. So just make a small steps and gradually work your way up to the bigger items or the more complex spaces that you have.
Okay, I love that advice. Okay, so I'm typing over here too. It says, start small, start with your mindset, gradually work your way up. Okay, yeah. I love that. Lianne?
And I would say start with someplace that doesn't have a lot of emotional attachment. It's easier to work, say, in the pantry than it is in your closet. So in the pantry, it's easy to throw away stuff that's expired. I just cleaned out my pantry for one of my clients that I visit regularly. And yesterday, I no joke, came up with 5 trash bags just in the pantry. And I visit this pantry once a year. So we totally filled it. And the pantry still has plenty of food in it. There's still loads to go, lots of meals in there. It's not like it's empty.
Wow.
So start with something that doesn't have a lot of emotional attachment, because then you can kind of feed off of, to Krystal's point, then you can kind of feed off of the success, and then you can go on to another area. And
wow.
Yeah.
Something that does not, this Wakanda Forever necklace. Everybody that know me know I wear a simple necklace all the time. And this one is like doing the most. So it's like, Wakanda Forever, like what is happening over here? But that's really good. Something that does not have an emotional attachment. And I leaned over while you were talking, because I keep certain things, like these are a pair of Gabriel's sweatpants. And so it's some things that I keep and I was, somebody was going to wash something, and they had the like, oh my gosh, please do not touch this. I have just a few sentimental things that have, anyway, I don't want to go.
And when I started mine, I started with my son's toys, because that was easiest to know where he wasn't playing with them at. And it wasn't my stuff. So I could start there and get a little feel for everything.
Yeah.
So I started with his stuff, what he wasn't playing with, and just gradually took them out. And then I looked and said, okay, well, I can do this. I can start tackling mine now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that philosophy, keeping it where it's just generic and something that doesn't hit you emotionally. And of course, in my case, that's very not just that, but even one year I kept the Christmas tree up for the entire year. And I'm a big believer that you don't need to keep the tree up. Just go ahead and get it down and go about your business. But in this case, it was a memorial tree, and it had all of the photos and different things. And I was like, I'm not taking this tree down for any reason. I actually could keep it up for the rest of my life. But it was just
some
like,
people do. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what feeds your soul, then do it.
yeah.
I give you permission.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
Not that you need my permission, but I mean,
no, it was just because of the
seriously.
size of the house that I'm in now versus the house that had like 6 Christmas trees and stuff like that. So I kept it up, and in a memorial room. In this particular space, I just couldn't. I don't have the space to keep it up all, whatever. Anyway, okay, I'm going way.
Krystal, I'm sure that you run into this too, right? When we see someone like what Kim's talking about emotional. She's got this really strong emotional attachment to stuff that was her son's. So what are ways that you can, like, I'm totally running the show here, Kim, sorry.
Oh, no, I understand.
But I would be curious, Krystal, what do you do? I mean, I have some ideas and I'll talk about them, but I would be curious what are ways that you would recommend for someone to hold on to those things that are so emotionally charged, because life changes. I mean, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, Kim may be in a very different place, but what would you recommend for some ideas now?
I would recommend that they put them in a set place. If you have some, like, just don't have them everywhere. Just keep them in a set place. So if you feel emotional one day and you just miss that person or miss whatever the objects are, you can go there and you can pull them out, and you can get your charge from it, and and then you can put it away once you've felt a little better about the situation.
Yeah.
Like one of my
memorial room.
Yeah. One of my clients, she had something tragic happened in her life, and she had a lot of these sentimental items. And I told her, I'm not going to touch them. I'm not going to do anything with them. This is for you when you're ready for it.
Right.
We put them in a set place for her. And when she's ready to let it go or ready to put it somewhere else out of sight, then that will be her choice. So I'm big on not really touching the emotional things, because that can send them spiraling down a whole nother rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, I think, important for people who are with somebody who is experiencing that emotional level, is to honor that. If they're not ready for it to be touched, don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
Just don't. And I mean, I worked with a woman whose husband literally went to go close up the beach house, was expected home that night, and he died. He never came home. And the woman and I were going through her home. She was getting ready to move. And she had a lot of these little, she had those boxes. You can get them at like Michael's, where they're pretty and they've got a little magnetic closure on them. And she had them in a couple of different places where we put some photographs, and we put like a pair of his socks, because just like him, they smelled like him, and she would put them on sometimes when she was just sitting there. It just made her feel good. And I was like, okay, well then we'll do that. And then as time went on, in her second home down the road, she was able to part with something else. But then there's other clients who took like all of the dad's dress shirts and had a quilt made out of them. And she had a quilt made for each of her daughters. So all of them ended up with a quilt made with dad's shirts. And it was right? I mean, what a beautiful way to honor it, to keep it out, to not feel like, don't touch it. It was something they could share. They could talk about it if they wanted to. And it was really sweet. So there's a lot of creative ways to be able to, we were talking earlier about repurposing. Here's another way to repurpose the stuff that really means something to us.
Exactly.
I love that. And I saw your cup too. I have one of the Same
Ah,
type of, mine is balance and yours says you matter. And you do matter. And even the people that have transitioned from this earth that have been a part of our lives, they still matter. So some kind of way including them and infusing them into our lives makes such a tremendous difference. So I love everything that you all have shared. And in the studio audience, share ways that you memorialize people that you love. I know for me, I still sign cards in order of my children. And whenever I'm giving birthday gifts or different things, and I'll say Frankie, Ivan, Gabriel from heaven, and I'll still put his name right in the same place marker, and then go on with Jeremiah, Jayla, and sometimes I'll even put Hero, depending upon who we giving the card to. That's our dog. So, and my mom, I always put my mom, and and my mom is Ella, so I always put her on all of the cards too. But just figuring out a way to incorporate your loved one, even if it's in a memorializing way to commemorate them. I love it. I love that. So, A Clean Experience. Tell us about A Clean Experience, Krystal. What is the company? Do you focus on commercial or residential? Talk to us.
It's a commercial and residential cleaning company. I focus on both residential and commercial. I got about an equal amount. Um, it's about cleaning. I want to help others. I know like cleaning their home, it helps my clients to get into a better mood, help them to just feel better. Because when you're sitting in a house and it's not it's not tidy or anything, it makes you feel down. Because I know myself, when my house isn't clean, I feel like, okay, what's going on? This is not, it's just a heavy feeling in there. So that just helps them just feel good. Like it just help people to feel good. That's
So,
my
so you think the mood of the person improves just because they're getting their space cleared out?
Yes, definitely.
And
Definitely.
you sharing that philosophy, Lianne?
absolutely. Absolutely. So that's actually based in feng shui principles, which goes back thousands of years. So from feng shui, they talk about even dust and dirt being micro clutter. So by removing that, the energy can flow better in a space. So absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah, like when you clean off your ceiling fan, if you have a lot of dirt on it, you're not getting a lot of the breeze from it. But if you clean it off, it feels like you got a brand new fan. It feels like
does.
you just got it's just taking that weight off of it, and letting it feels lighter in the home.
That's good. Yes, I agree. I agree. And anytime, it can be just cleaning the kitchen dishes or cleaning just a countertop with some disinfecting spray. Anything that I cleaning the light fixtures and things across where the dust accumulates. I'm like, just it brightens the room. So there are some basics that just basic cleaning and decluttering makes everything so much better. So do you all think that anybody can master decluttering?
Yes, they can. But I would think that's why when people clean up their own home, they get stopped in certain places because they start looking through it and say, "Oh, well, I never seen this, or I haven't seen this in a while, or maybe let me read this for a second. Let me do this over here." And then you just get stuck, and then you stop, and then you're just done because you didn't already did too many things at once, and the idea that what you were going to do is gone out the window now.
That's very true.
Right?
So
like Krystal, every day in our world is Christmas, right?
Right.
That's funny. So really, it's not even decluttering; it's moving. And because I do that, I'm guilty of that. So I'll put it in. If I know I'm giving it away, then I'll put it in a black trash bag. It's in a black trash bag. It goes. Because I'm also big on having the tools that you need as the balance doctor. I teach this. Whenever you're preparing to have a project done, you need to have all of the tools that you need at your disposal right then versus having to say, I'm doing this project. Now I need to go to the store, get trash bags, get tape, get some stuff that I'm going to be using to compartmentalize. All of that stuff you need to have in advance so that when you start the project, you're ready to execute on the project. You all agree?
Yeah, if you're just gonna if you need to do all that, if just declutter first, just move things out the way, and then start to restructure everything. Because if you're in the mood to throw things away, and then you say, oh, well, I need this, or you need that, you're going to stop and you're not going to do it because you're like, oh, I got to go do all this. I got to go get this.
30 more minutes.
Right. And next thing you know, you at the mall somewhere and you ain't did nothing.
It's like that. Have you ever read that Facebook post where they talk about looking for the glasses? And they go, oh, I was looking for my glasses and I went into the kitchen and then I realized I really wanted a cup of coffee. And then I realized I didn't have any milk. So then I went to the store. And then while I was at the store, I realized I needed to go to the bank. And while I was at the bank, and da-da-da-da. And then ultimately the glasses were on their head the whole time.
That's funny. So they did all of that extra work and it was right there with them the entire time. Wow. So I think that based on what I'm hearing you all say, that anybody can master this, but you have to start somewhere and you have to be able to be willing to depart from it in a black trash bag format and be able to get it out of the house some kind of way, whether it's given to a charity or whether it's sitting in the garage for a few months to determine if you want it to come back. It's a lot of stuff that you all are sharing. Putting the hangers backwards so you'll know if you wore it for the season. Yeah, there's some good stuff. All right, everybody. So we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, I'd love to hear maybe just what some of the final words of advice. We have about 9 more minutes. So just some more thoughts, because I think decluttering is something that helps people just have a better life. And so if we can master that, I think we'll all be better. That's why I'm going to be doing this multiple times. It's not a one-stop shop type of thing. We're going to keep learning until we start hearing some answers that you all are actually implementing this stuff. All right, we'll be right back. Hear from both of you all again. We'll hear from you, Lianne, and then from you, Krystal. So get ready to share something. We'll be back.
Ignite your life and seize the new year by effectively planning it with your 2024 Ignite and Take Flight Planner. It's time to navigate your success with strategic project management. Win with inspiring quotes from inspirational people that will guide you to the success you deserve. And don't forget to track your dollars, habits, empowering notes, and connect with dynamic brands. It's never too late to start planning your success. Get your copy now.
All right, everyone, we are back and we're talking with Lianne Hofer and Krystal Rosser about decluttering. And I want to make sure you know how you can stay connected with both of them. Lianne Hofer is at Lianne Hofer, HOFER.com. And you can also go to her LianneHoferAuthor.com page and get a free download. She has a download there for you to receive and waiting for you to go over and put your email address and she'll send you that free download. We also have Krystal Rosser, and on Facebook, you can stay connected with her at Mending Me TV. And she has a podcast talk show there that you can learn more about and tune into. And it's mendingmetv@gmail.com as well. So Lianne, talk to us about any other insightful tips that you'd like to share regarding decluttering.
So I think decluttering is a personal experience. I think that a lot of times we think we have to do the whole house, and sometimes setting a timer for 10 or 15 minutes can be more productive than setting off a 4-hour block of time. Because like we alluded to earlier, the next thing you know, you're at the grocery store buying milk instead of cleaning out your closet. So when you decide to do it, if you're having a hard time staying on track, if you're easily distracted by alerts on your phone, or if you just all of a sudden you just follow the breadcrumbs of doing something else, set a timer and just spend some time really hyper-focused. The world is not going to come crashing down in a 15-minute time slot for you to spend on something. And the other tidbit that I would strongly recommend is pick a size space that you feel comfortable that you can accomplish. So if doing your closet and taking everything out of it is feeling too overwhelming, then don't. Pick a 2 foot space, take everything out of it, clean it off, take a look at the hangers, look at the clothes, hang it back up, see what needs to be cleaned, and finish it. Because you will get more momentum off of that win than you would if you destroyed your closet. I've gotten phone calls from people who go, my entire closet's in my master bedroom. Can you come over this afternoon? And I'm like, on my way.
On your way. Yeah. Speaking of which, when you say on your way, can you do this virtually, Lianne, with people as well? Because I can see you easily doing this right through a Zoom and saying, hey, get that out of there or whatever. You can do that?
Yep, we sure can.
Excellent. And so if they go to liannehofer.com, they can book some type of session with you?
They can reach out to me on there. There's a form at the bottom of the page. They can send me a little message and I'll get back to them.
That's awesome. Okay, so there are no excuses, no matter where you are in the country watching or hearing this episode. If you want to connect with Lianne Hofer, you can go to liannehofer.com, and at the bottom of the page, there's a way for you to send a message, and she can work with you virtually. Make sure you let her know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way, so that when she's in your closet, she knows where you connected with her from. Okay.
So when we find all those coins, we know that they're going to Gabe's foundation.
Yeah. Send them to Gabe's Heart Foundation. Right. All right. Let's see. Krystal, any input and tips? These are all great tips y'all have shared throughout the episode.
Yes, start small. Don't go tackle something that's too big, and because it's going to be too overwhelming for you. And know that you're not going to get it all done in one day. It's not something that you're just going to finish. It's a journey. Take your time with it until you become comfortable with it and be able to move forward from it. Don't start with anything that is of value to you. If you're a person that loves clothes, do not start there. Start in your bathroom. I like to start with my mail because a mail accumulates. Start by just decluttering your mail. You'll see a difference and you'll be able to snowball with that to do other things. And just
I'm glad you said mail, because mail is something that can get so overwhelming, and even emails get so overwhelming that is just a really good place. I've started searching on my emails where I'll search like it can be anything. I don't want to say a name, but one of the emails that I may get very often, and all of them will auto populate. So then I go and hit delete to all of them.
Yep.
And that's like almost 300 or 400 emails that in that particular name that's off my email thing. So mail is very overwhelming when you get all of this advertisement. I love that tip.
And just be mindfully aware of what you're doing and why you're doing it. You're doing it to be focused and to be happy. Because if your email is cleaned out, you're like, okay, cool. I ain't got to do that. I got 10,000 of them. I need to let them. They're all gone. You ain't got to do that. Or if you got them all sitting on a table, you can look for them, throw them in the garbage. You have a nice clean table.
I love that advice. I love having guests on when I get a chance to smile like I'm at a wedding and my cheeks are burning. That's what I feel like here, because I really believe that just by doing this decluttering conversations that we can have a better year, a better life. Just let's start, not necessarily start from scratch, but let's just start somewhere to just make things better. When we're better, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So think of it, when we let go of some of the stuff all has weight. All that weight is something that requires our attention. When we let go of the weight, we have that freedom to be able to move forward. When we let go of the attention, we can now put our attention on the places and the things that really matter to us. So now we've really improved our lives. So by working in your physical space, you do work on your mental space, your emotional space, your physiological space, and you're healthier.
Everything that you said, I agree with. So, and I typed it as well, but I just want to make sure that you all have these points later in the virtual studio audience. And I want to thank our guests that came on today, Lianne and Krystal. And let me go, I don't want to close out because some people have taken the time to type kind of some comments here. Let's see. Yolanda says, this is good. Start small. Yes, thank you, Yolanda, for being on. And I know I don't know you all that are all here, but glad to have you today. Sheila Hill, who has a show as well, and you definitely want to check her out. No excuses. Everything that's been shared, she said there are no more excuses, basically. Oh, my mom, she typed a paragraph. So she said, you all have inspired me. Listening to this great show and decluttering my nightstand drawer right now.
Go, Ella.
And I can envision her in there. She in there going for it too. She's already very organized, by the way. Let's see. Great information, Sheila said. Benitra said, you all are stepping on my toes.
Sorry.
So lots of people have been commenting. We're so glad that you all tuned into today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. We have a great lineup lined up for you throughout the week, some of which is dealing with like dementia and caring for parents that may have experienced Alzheimer's. We all need to know how to handle that because it's unpredictable, unexpected. You don't know until you know. And we have our Freestyle Friday experts coming up talking about vision. I have a blind young lady that's going to be coming on talking about vision and how to implement that vision, and some financial advice that's coming for funding, and all kinds of great experts coming up for our Freestyle Friday expert panel as well. So you all be in your virtual seats at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time each weekday right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Any closing comment, Krystal?
Thank you for having me. And just like I said, start small, start anywhere. Let's go.
Let's go. And how can people stay connected with you with your show? What can they expect on Mending Me TV? We've talked about that, but I didn't hear any wording on it.
Mending Me is about just mending my broken heart from a relationship and just getting through that and moving forward in life, not letting anything hold you back.
Okay, so you teach, and what day do they tune into that?
The days have shifted. We're going with Saturday afternoon. We're going to do that. Stay tuned for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So make sure you all stay connected. So whenever she is starting to stream live on Saturdays, you are already following her and being connected right with Mending Me, all smushed together right on Facebook. You can go like her page and follow her, and then as she goes live and shares announcements, you'll be able to learn more about Mending Me, her talk show podcast that's coming out very soon. All right.
Thank you.
All right. How about you, Lianne? Any closing comment?
Oh, Kim, as always, it's been a pleasure. It was so great to see you, and thank you for the opportunity to come and share to help lift up your audience, and to meet Krystal, who's just amazing. I'm so excited and honored to have met you, Krystal, and I'm glad to have dropped some wisdom and maybe some tips and pointers that can help some folks along the way. That's why we're all here. I have a workshop that's coming up. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me at liannehofer.com.
And your workshop, when it's coming out, I know I'm not time stamping this particular episode, but because I'll be replaying it, that's why. So Lianne, with her conference, her workshop that's coming up, go to liannehofer.com, and there's information there for you to be able to register for the workshop. And I can guarantee you that it's going to be an enlightening session, one that you'll be able to implement some strategies right away. So go to liannehofer.com, get that workshop on your calendar, and you will be grateful that you did. Okay?
Oh, thanks, Kim.
All right, everybody. If you're interested in starting your own show from scratch and you want to learn the ins and outs, the training, the technical details, I offer a 6-week training that's available to you. And we're starting our next session next week. So whenever you're watching this next week, right? Okay, next week. But I can tell you literally next week from this particular moment that you're watching it, we have 1 seat left in the class. And I would love for you to be in that 6-week session and look forward to being able to help you create a show from scratch, your very own show that you own the content to, and you can work from the comfort of your home. All right, that's today's episode, everyone. I will see you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, everybody. Thank you, ladies. Y'all were awesome. I'll see you backstage. Stay backstage for a second. Have a
Okay.
great one, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11